Philadelphia. Oh, don't you worry, everybody. That game was just a fluke. Nothing to see here. No real patterns to discover. Just a fluky football game with your favorite Philadelphia Eagles being up 21-0 on the road to the Dallas Cowboys. You know what just happened? Just a fucking goocher walked in. A ghost. A couple of different spirits from Christmas past. And that's all that happened. Just a weird, wacky fucking football game where you've got Reed Blankenship intercepting Dak Prescott at the goal line. Still being up 21-0, by the way. And just wanting the Cowboys to die. There were so many opportunities to kill that team. And you know what happened? Just fucking, I don't know. Couldn't possibly be the coaching staff. Nope, not on this one, because if it was the coaching staff, there wouldn't be as many penalties. And if that sounds as dumb to you as it sounds to me this morning, congratulations. You know where my frustrations lie. And this is about as high as my voice is going to get today. I'm not going to let them affect me anymore. I cannot do this. You and I are talking and screaming to a fucking wall over there. I don't give a shit if it's QB1 at this point. Something has to change. Someone's got to get benched if they've got somebody really over a barrel, which again, I still don't think is happening. Or someone needs to be relieved of the duties of play calling. And I am going to keep pointing to Detroit because they are not a great football team. They're not. They really struggled against the Giants. That overtime win was ridiculous. And yet they look happy when they win. These guys, when they come out there and win a football game, it looks like their dog got shot, okay? That's the difference. Every other team has major issues on the O-line. Do I think these are all contributing factors? Of course. And if you don't have somebody that can react to the chaos that constantly happens to the Philadelphia Eagles offense, this is what you're going to get. The issue and the problems that we keep missing is not physically on the field. It is not. It is Kevin Patullo has a plan, and when it goes well, they can manage that. And when the shit hits the fan and they don't know how to stop the bleeding or get an offensive drive going, that's when they reach into their bag of dicks, not bag of tricks. There is no Ben Johnson, thank you for getting us out of that mess. Thank you very much. There is no coordination with this offense, and I feel like you and I are going insane because of the amount of media covering everything else but the drama, the stuff I didn't even get to last week because I was just so goddamn tired. And I apologize to you. There are 3 episodes in the thing that I am recording now that just never got out because it's mostly me complaining about Jeff McLane and Derek Gunn simultaneously, and we'll just get into that this week because I want to focus on this shit right now. I have hope that there is better Sundays and better offensive outputs. But if the Detroit Lions can make a change at offensive coordinator, if Chip Kelly can be fired immediately after what the Raiders are doing over there, if anybody else in any other organization would make a change a long time ago, and even now they would absolutely make a change, the Philadelphia Eagles are not. There's no benching coming. There's no healthy player other than Lane Johnson possibly coming back a little sooner than we expected, but this is at least another 3 games, and if you need Lane Johnson to beat the Raiders, Jesus Christ, this team is in deeper shit than I thought. At what point do you just say Matt Pryor's not going to line up correctly in our jumbo packages? Saquon Barkley fumbling a football. Yeah, they're all pressing. You are putting them into the stress bubble of conservatism, and you are saying that this is the way to go because it's how we protect the turnover battle and the lead. And in every case of football that has been true, it means you are setting yourself up for a loss. And suddenly, the Philadelphia Eagles, and I would say part of the media, is making us believe that this is a winning formula. This is, we're going to roll the dice on the craps table, and we feel good about our odds. This is not planning. They are protecting Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni because they don't know what the fuck they're doing this year. If you look at any quotes from 2013 and Nick, it's all about fresh ideas. We need fresh ideas with this offense. There are things that are happening that I didn't get to. You know, like it is all over the place, and I'm not even comparing again because I'm so tired of doing that. You know that by now. But those quotes, when the offense is struggling from 2 years ago, is already screaming, we need coaching help. I need outside help. And he admitted this at the end of the year. And there isn't a peep, not one peep about it in a press conference in that Kevin needs to be better. Always ends up on players. It's on players' execution. And we know from bad coaches in our past, all of the ones that the beats are constantly shoving down our throats to say, you should appreciate this more. You should appreciate this more. All of those dumb head coaches that you had to cover and go through is exactly what they would be doing in these situations. How hard is this to criticize the main problem? How hard is it? No drama is ever going to affect the output on the field between Jalen and AJ. That is clear every time that they make a game plan now for the second or third game in a row, or 3 out of the last 4, whatever it has been, to get the ball to AJ Brown. And it was working, by the way. And then all of a sudden, panic sets in. You don't know how to capitalize on the turnovers. There are actual people after that game yesterday that wanted to criticize the defense. And you have Sidney Brown doing somersaults and God knows what. He takes out the guy that lands Gibson right square in the chest for the fumble. And they didn't even score on it. That's the other insane part about this. They didn't score on that. Blankenship gives you the interception. What do you want them to do? You're looking at Marcus Epps and Sidney Brown being your safeties with Cooper DeJean at CB2. And did Cooper look like an all-pro out there? Of course not, but Michael Carter looked good in the slot, and he still was able to kind of cover CeeDee Lamb almost one-on-one, and if he's got McCouber or anybody else back there, it doesn't look as bad. Like, he played that ball really well. He had one really bad one against Pickens. I don't know if that touchdown, whoever the fucking tight end was, where Cooper DeJean is on the drag route with CeeDee Lamb the entire way, Sidney Brown pushes up, and I don't know if he is supposed to give that to Sidney Brown and push back, but man, I can't believe you're thinking of blaming the defense when they still had to go kick a game-winning field goal with 0 seconds left on the clock. You gave them a 21-point lead, and they basically held it up the whole fucking game. Your one opportunity in the second half is a 56-yard field goal, which, again, normally good for Jake. Dallas missed one too. That is just kind of, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles. You're not setting themselves up for a win. You're waiting to lose. This team is waiting to lose because of one major thing, and I still am pointing at the offensive coaching room. This is like defending job territory between all the shit that came out last week, all the stuff that's leaking out. This is a fight between the players and the coaches, or some players and some coaches, or KP is directly blaming Jalen, or someone in that staff is. Because again, all the bullshit that we hear between these reports, not fucking one of them refuted it. That was what I was bitching about last week, by the way, if you wanted to know. I'll just sum it up real quickly. The fact that Jeff McLane says this is overblown and decides he is the beacon of neutral objectivity because he's been on the story the most or the closest to it, or believes he's the best one to report it, and then on Friday, on his podcast, apologizes not only to Diana Rossini, but to Derek Gunn, because the information that they're giving isn't untrue. Jeff reiterated, yes, there are issues right now, and there is a smoke a-brewing. Could it be fire? Maybe. We'll see. Jeff McLane believed it wasn't worth reporting, and these other people did. So if we are just arguing about the semantics that coaches, players, and everybody else are frustrated with Jalen Hurts' play, then it is worth reporting. It is happening in there. And I'm not blaming Jalen Hurts. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm blaming fucking everybody that's in that room right now. Everyone. Everyone that thought money and winning cures all would fix this team. Whoopsie daisy. Not having anybody from the outside in on the offense. Whoopsie daisy. And now I got to go back to the retirement thing again because that makes sense to me. My fucking armchair just fell off. I'm going to take another sip of coffee, all right? I feel like I'm breaking a promise to you. I'm getting too loud. I forgot where I was going, so I'm going to be so mad when I'm editing this later. Every time that there has been infighting with the Philadelphia Eagles, it looks like this. It looks like a gigantic compromise to try and keep everyone happy, and it doesn't have a direction because no one is willing to give it one. Too much evidence that Nick Sirianni cannot handle this. Nick and Kevin Patullo are really smart, as in, if they were scholars of football, if they were in the media, if they were teaching us the game, they would be brilliant at it. because that's their skill set, or at least that's their supposed skill set. That's all based on results, Super Bowls, and obviously a lot of people complimenting their coaching style. I just don't buy that when you compliment someone's coaching style, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the overall great thing for the team. It might mean that Nick doesn't give us a hard time and lets us do what we want to do in these certain areas. That's why we don't really care so much about the ups and downs here. But where I think people are starting to feel this, in the retirement thing, I'm back to it now. I still feel like that is a indicator, at least, that there isn't a lot of people having fun there. You remember those comments from Lane Johnson after the first Super Bowl that the Eagles won, and you're looking at, man, if I had to do this again, and if I had to do it the Patriot way, get 5 Super Bowls, that is just not fun for me. I don't like coming to work like everything that we do is a job, and everything that we have to do has to be perfected, from how we write it on the chalkboard to how we're doing it on the field. I feel that is how Jalen Hurts operates, much like we've talked about. A Kobe Bryant type of mentality, a Tom Brady type of mentality, MJ, however you want to define it. I think Nick is part that, but I think he's part I'd rather have fun. And so would A.J. Brown. And so would a lot of players in that locker room. So if it is starting to feel like the Patriot way, which you and I have discussed, like if you're trying to do a Patriot way and it isn't completely successful all the time, you start to question all of this effort you're putting in, all of these things that you're sacrificing, and going like, is this really worth it? And to me, that is what A.J. Brown sounds like. From even last year, when you said, man, when I got here, I thought this would make me light up like a Christmas tree. But none of this was fucking fun. I am miserable. I am miserable again this year. On its own, Zadarius Smith retiring isn't that big of a deal in terms of like, there's a huge problem in the Eagles locker room. Like singularly, Jair Alexander going from what seems to be a worse situation to a better situation, looks around and says, I don't think this is worth it. Again, singularly, I don't think it's a humongous issue or an indictment on the Philadelphia Eagles locker room. However, when you put all of these things together, and if you think there is trying to be a Patriot way that is now going through the Philadelphia Eagles, do you want to spend the last year of your football life going through a miserable want-to-be Patriots type of way? Because the Philadelphia Eagles, mind you, this is my whole point in this, can never be that way. It is going to be impossible for them to do. Howie Roseman's in control of everything. This isn't a coach versus GM versus owner situation where you have this tight-knit system where you are cutting guys regardless of their status, money, cap, or anything else that is happening in the locker room. The Philadelphia Eagles are an optics organization, meaning they will show you that everything is fine until they absolutely have to show their hand. So there will never be a decisive cut or any of that to make this move unless you consider that's what this offseason was. But none of that landed into this system that they're building because they don't have a system at all on the offense. None. If you don't have a system on the offense, you can't run the Patriot way. We are dictating this entire offense to now Saquon Barkley, and Saquon Barkley cannot do anything for us at the moment. So now, back to that whole, we're going to conserve this. We're not going to play this hardcore aggressive passing game and making sure that like we're up 35-0 and then give it to Saquon, which is a way better intent that we have discussed leading up to this season. All training camp, we were pounding that home. And all training camp, a lot of beat reporters were telling us this Eagles offense sucks. And we just go, yeah, it's training camp. It's training camp. Man, it sucks. There are warning signs everywhere that this is not going to be great. I don't want to put 1,000% on hiring Kevin Patullo because I think that's unfair. Kevin's taking the job. I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming everybody else. I'm blaming Nick and Howie and Jalen if he's like, I'd rather have him than anybody else from the outside. I'm tired of doing this. Huge mistake from everybody there. If that's what AJ's pissed about, I totally get it. But if you're going to have this style of like, okay, we're not going to have fun anymore because it is not fun to try and go win back-to-back Super Bowls, which is totally true, and trying to do it a third time is even more absurd. You're going to have all of those Kansas City Chief problems. You're going to have to take gambles on the players that Andy likes to take gambles on, and Howie and the rest knocked that shit off a long time ago. You really have to decide what kind of organization you want to be when you're building this thing up, and they're doing this half-assed Patriot way of like, you're not going to make it here and our coaches are good enough. No, one side of the ball is good enough to do that with. Vic Fangio can produce you results, which again if we are talking about the inconsistencies of a roster, the inconsistencies of a game, Vic has been able to handle chaos quite well. And you can't argue with me that there's more talent on that side of the ball at any given time. Jahad Campbell's now playing 11 snaps of football. And look, that's not an indictment of Jahad Campbell long term, but when Nakobe Dean comes back and then you trade for Phillips, your first round pick now becomes a bench player, and Makuba, who's your second round pick, has to be out there. I don't know how it helps Jahad Campbell long term for this, but that's not great either. Like there are just some things that would have helped this team this year that'll probably help this team in 2026 and 2027, and I get that, but man, it just feels like they really missed the mark on what they thought this season was going to be, if that makes sense. I think there would have been way better opportunities to go find a potential Lane Johnson development, and I understand that the offensive line is now a point to, that's a big reason why this offense sucks. I do agree with that. I also think Cam does not look comfortable out there right now either. I don't think he's playing terrible, and I don't think he's playing amazing. And I think we can say that about a lot of this offensive line in general. Like the chemistry isn't really there. Health is a major part of that, especially for the first part of the season. Mutt and Mike in the Discord have been pounding that home. Mutt was in my ear early about that. And I completely agree. When Toth is under there, it looked like they had struggles with snapping the ball in shotgun, so they go more under center. And actually, the offense improves a little bit more when they do that, and it improved a lot of bit when they were doing that. And A.J. Brown wasn't a part of that, I'm just saying. Just one game sample size, but just pointing it out. So that play clock is more of the offensive line's enemy. Now that I've kind of taken a few games after the bye, everyone, where we all agree with A.J. Brown again, is everyone reverting this season? Everyone's just having a bad year? Jalen's having a bad year. Saquon's having a bad year. Smitty's having a good year. A.J. Brown's having a bad year for him. Jordan Mailata doesn't look like himself. Grant Calcaterra still can't block. 13 personnel ended up working out for them in the run game yesterday. Like, you're going to tell me that these guys just forgot how to play football on the offensive side of the ball? Come on now. Players that do dumb things all the time. I think we went over that, but the majority of these mistakes are because they're worried about the defensive line or the blitz or whatever they don't have time to react to when the play clock's at 2 and 1 or 4 and then 3, 2, and then it snaps. The defense has this offense not only timed up, but it's also predictable. 2 whammos at once. They don't know how to get their simple bullshit play calls in, and by the time that they get out there and they're lined up, you can't motion anybody. You can't change anything. So if Saquon's to Jalen's left and A.J. Brown is also to the left, you know what's coming. It was a touchdown early, and then it was, oh, we know what you're doing. The fact that Dallas was running a 5-1 penny front last week and no one noticed it, including Landon Dickerson in the comments, is something we didn't really practice much about because it's Dallas and they don't do that shit. Well, listen, the next couple of weeks that I didn't think were very important for this team are now suddenly important. Not from a threat to lose the NFC East or even top seeding in the NFC. But if this team refuses to literally change anything about their offensive approach, dramatic, small, or anything in between, this shit is going to keep happening. You and I are going to keep trying to point the finger at something or everything. And not only was I done last week with trying to imagine that this offense could do anything else, I'm just done with the expectations of what's left with the season. This is not like a sit back and we'll just see what happens and enjoy it. This is, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not enjoying anything I'm watching. None of this is fun. And as a fan, if this is our version of the Patriot way, it can go fuck itself too. There's only one person that can do that, and that moron is in Chapel Hill with a 24-year-old girl controlling his life and supposedly getting bitched out by Bill's daughter-in-law for 40 fucking minutes. Have the Patriot way. God bless you. There's more demons and skeletons with the Patriot way than I care to imagine. And all I have to do is point to a tight end to prove my point. No one wants that. No one wants that. We're not the fucking Patriots. This is the Philadelphia Eagles. I am so thankful that we have had this time period together and seeing everything develop from 2021 because it is an awesome, wild ride. But don't sell me that this is a tight team that loves each other, has the chemistry going. And from my comparison last week, Lions are happy. Eagles look like their dog just got shot, winning or losing. And we're fucking all playing Homer Simpson with the pig shooting down the road, that fucking hilly-ass road, going 70 miles an hour saying, it's too good, it's too good, it's just a little water, it's too good, just a little leaves on it, it's too good, it's got some dirt on it. I'll eat some dirty-ass pig roast. I will. But we just got to call it dirty-ass pig roast, okay? I'll see you on Wednesday. Go Birds.